All right, folks, welcome back. It's time for the Malzberg panel, and joining us on the panel today, senior fellow at FreedomWorks, Tom Borelli, and columnist for Breitbart.com and American Thinker, C. Edmund Wright. Gentlemen, I welcome both of you. Just had on Danny Danon, a member of the Likud party, former assistant defense secretary for Benjamin Netanyahu. And it turns out that this ceasefire that was signed, Netanyahu agreed to it unilaterally. He did not take it to the cabinet. The cabinet's outraged. They would have rejected it. The polling in Israel shows that Netanyahu's numbers are dropping. Danny Danon says the job is not done, and that the prime minister might face a no-confidence vote after the Jewish holidays. Edmund, what's your take on all this?
You know, Steve, my take was sort of how you ended the last segment. You can't believe it. You don't understand what he's thinking. I mean, this seems like a, invasion of the body snatchers. Was this Benjamin Netanyahu or just some sort of pod? I need to get up to speed on this. I am absolutely confused and surprised.
Yeah, and Tom, the fact of the matter is, there's some speculation. We know there's been U.S. pressure on Netanyahu, but it just doesn't seem right. You got Hamas now celebrating, claiming victory, because basically they got what they asked for.
Yeah, it's a really tough situation there in the Mideast. I really feel for the Israeli people and Mr. Netanyahu. Who knows what's going on? They have to be a little weary of all the war, all the bombs, all the threats. And, again, politics always takes over. So we just pray that the right situation will occur.
All right, speaking of politics, and what a natural segue you provided me, Tom. I appreciate that.
Anytime.
And let's talk about President Obama. I mean, my goodness. It is so in your face. It is so outrageous. It is so blatant. Not even hiding it. But now the latest end around Congress apparently will involve climate change, or whatever they want to call it, and a treaty without the congressional approval of said treaty, Tom. And this involves a global climate change deal. He's finding a way to get around Congress on this.
Yeah, the Senate. I mean, let's say President Obama said he had a pen and a phone. Well, now he has an international phone. He's trying to do climate change globally. But let's not get too distracted with all this. I view this as a clear political ploy. He's trying, before the midterm elections, he's going for his environmental base. He needs them to come out, so he's thrown a little chum in the water for them to come out. But I think overall this climate change agenda is going to be bad for politics. West Virginia is most likely going to go Senate Republican with Ms. McCapito, and it's going to help Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. So I think it's going to backfire on Obama.
And Edmund, again, it's just the attempt to circumvent the Congress. What he knows he can't get, because the people that are elected by the people, as the Constitution provides for, he's saying, well, let's figure out a way to get around what the Constitution provides for.
Well, Steve, he is doing that. And to Tom's point, he's also trying to motivate the environmentalists, which are some of the biggest donors to the Democrat Party, probably more valuable for their money than for their sheer numbers. But look at what this resolution's calling for. It's calling for a politically binding agreement, not legally binding. They know they can't do that. Politically binding. How is that done? Name and shame the countries that don't agree to it. Naming and shaming America. Well, that's what Obama wants to do. He's just going to now have the UN do his dirty work for him. I mean, this is classic Obama being Obama.
Community activist Obama.
Right, and Tom, and Edmund's right on target. It probably wouldn't be legally binding, and it takes an old agreement that the Senate did sign on to, I believe, years and years and years ago, and it takes that agreement and then adds things on, such as name and shame and other requirements, and it's a whole mishmash. In reality, probably, Tom and Edmund, it means nothing. But that's the definition of Obama's presidency, right, Tom?
Well, look, Tom Steyer's out there, the billionaire environmentalist. He wants to donate to, the Democrat Party to advance these climate change agendas. Billionaire Steyer's probably got some money in green energy. I don't know. I'd put some money on that. This is all about politics, all about money, and it's really going to harm in the long run, I think, Obama, because the economy cannot withstand, what he wants to do to our energy.
Edmund, will it make a difference at this point? I mean, you know, we have a comment, speculation from Chris Matthews, which we'll play later on, hoping and praying that, in effect, that this tragedy in Ferguson and the aftermath of it will motivate the minority vote to come out and vote in the midterms. But I mean, is anything resonating? Is anything really at this point going to, you know, bring out the base for a midterm election?
Well, I don't think Ferguson's going to have long coattails on that, not to a big degree. But to Mr. Borelli's point, yeah, this is about, when I said donors, I meant Mr. Steyer principally. This is all about getting his money. Now, will it work? Well, I don't know. I see Karl Rove's group trying to blow the election in Arkansas and North Carolina by running to the left of the Democrat incumbents. So, you know, maybe if Karl Rove's strategy tightens it up, this will allow the Democrats to steal a few seats.
Yeah, what is with that? I mean, sometimes I like Karl Rove, and sometimes I wish Karl Rove would just go away, Tom.
Well, he's all part of the establishment. Clearly, establishment candidates haven't worked in the past and not going to work in the future. We need more people who want liberty, free markets, and too many of the establishment people just aren't going to pull it.
Tom, earlier we're going to talk with Andy McCarthy later on, and he's been very vocal, as others have, about Eric Holder. You know, your take on what this Attorney General, yesterday Pat Buchanan said he's acting more like Al Sharpton.
Well, it's color-coded justice, you know, with Eric Holder. He himself said he was an activist attorney general. You have a president that's a community organizer. This is what we're seeing from the top right through the Justice Department. Well, they have 40 FBI agents now trying to dig and find something in Ferguson. It should be a local issue. And if they find something on civil rights, then it goes to the Department of Justice, not the other way around.
And I believe they're still digging on George Zimmerman. I think that's still an open civil rights investigation. I don't know when that's going away. We'll come back with C. Edmund Wright and with Tom Borelli, and we're going to talk about the Justice Department in another realm as it applies to immigration and asylum seekers coming to this country from Guatemala. And wait till you hear now all they have to say to get into this country. Basically, no other questions asked. We're coming back, part 2. You want to reach us? Here's how you do it. Email us all about your opinions on the show.
Stop.